Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Paul, and in today's video we're going to talk about the first top 10 Foxbody mods that I would do. I've hesitated on creating this video because I know it's been done numerous times before, but I keep getting asked what my take is. So I'm going to oblige, and we're going to start with number one being the most important, so let's go. Starting with number one, the most important Foxbody modification without question is a set of subframe connectors. These Foxbodies have a ton of flex, being a unibody, but once you get a set of full-length subframe connectors are welded in there, it totally changes the way they feel, really sharpens them up. The subframe connectors minimize that flex, which equals power loss, and it also prevents your car from twisting as your power levels increase. So that's where you start with a set of subframe connectors. My number two modification is definitely going to be a set of springs. I like my Foxes low, and to me, stance is everything. So once you get a set of lowering springs in there, it's going to really change the look of the car. Gives it a little bit more of an aggressive look. It's going to help out in the handling aspect as well, and it's a great bang for your buck modification. I personally like the red iBox Sport lines. I've used them several times, and the stance is great. If you look at this picture here of Sally's old notchback, those are the springs that we have in there, and the stance is on the money. So number two, set of springs. Moving on to modification number three, and it is the best bang for your buck on the list here today. It's a set of rear end gears. It's going to make a dramatic difference, and you're going to feel like you just picked up 50 wheel horsepower. Now, the gear ratio that you install is really going to be dependent on your setup, what your future plans are. If you're a stick or automatic car, these are all things that you need to consider. But my go-to gear has always been the 373. It's a great gear, great in town, great on the highway, and great on the drag strip. So that's my pick for number three, set of rear end gears. My number four modification is a short shifter. I personally don't like the way the stock shifter feels. Very sloppy, the throws are long. So installing a short shifter in there really changes the way the tranny, the shift points, and even the angle of the shifts, depending on the shifter that you have installed. What short shifter you go with is really going to be a personal preference again. What I would suggest is if you have some friends that have different types of shifters, try them out, see which one you like, see if you like the angle of the shifter handle, etc. Over the years, I've figured out that I personally like the Her shifter base with the triax handle. That is the setup that I always use, and I just like it. I like the positioning, I like the shift points, and I like the angle of the triax handle. So number four, short shifter. Modification number five is going to be our exhaust. These Foxbodies sound amazing once we start making some changes. We're going to pick up some horsepower as well once we get rid of that super restrictive H-pipe. But this is going to be a costly modification depending on how far you go with it. My take on that is I like to do the exhaust front to back just to get it done and kind of prep the car for future modifications. I personally like a long tube setup. There's pros and cons to long tube and shorties, so you're going to have to decide that. But I usually go long tube off-road X-pipe with a full cat back. There's a lot of great mufflers out there, so whatever fancies your ear is what you go with. Either way, you're going to have a wicked sounding Mustang once you're done. Modification number 6 is equally important, and that's upgrading to a 3G 130 amp alternator. The stock Foxbody alternator was only a 75 amp, and it was not sufficient. So do yourself a favor, drop in a 3G alternator in there, and this way you don't have to worry about if you have enough power as you go adding electronic items to your car. And this is also going to set us up for modification number 7. Modification number 7, now that we have the 3G installed, is going to be adding a set of underdrive pulleys. If you've ever added some pulleys to a stock alternator, you know you're just depleting your battery and it doesn't work well. But with the 3G, it will sustain it. So it is a great mod. You're going to pick up some horsepower, and hence it being placed number 7 on the list after the alternator was installed. Modification number 8 is going to be a set of caster camera plates. In my opinion, this is a must for a lowered Fox body. It's going to help out the car in a couple of different areas. Number 1, to set a proper alignment, and number 2, it's going to help increase the ride quality as the front strut will come through, and it'll allow the most travel possible. But at this point, what I'm going to suggest is buy the camera plates, but don't put them in right away, because it's going to lead us to modification number 9. Modification number 9 is a new set of struts and shocks. We have our camera plates set aside, so we're going to get everything installed at the same time to save on some labor costs. This is going to drastically change the ride quality of your Fox body, because when you initially install a set of lowering springs on stock shocks and struts, it is a harsh ride. But with the new stuff going in there, again, it's going to greatly improve that quality of ride, and you're going to be very happy with it. And our last modification, tying in our new suspension components, is a performance alignment. I can't express to you guys how much a proper alignment changes the feel of these Fox bodies. I'm going to share the specs that I personally like to run. So do some research, find a steering alignment specialist and someone that's open to working with you, and maybe some specs that you bring them. All right, guys, that's the top 10 list. If you have any questions, by all means, drop them in. Other than that, you guys know what to do. Give the video a like, drop in a comment, smash the subscribe button. We appreciate you watching our videos, and we'll see you again here on Paul the Fox.